not engaged with it, but very interested in it. I would say the quality that I see is somebody who's intellectually connected with what's going on, keenly observant, but not letting it affect him very much at any point. And I think in that way he was able to see the way that people interrelate um, from a very interesting perspective, one that didn't have his own emotionality behind it. He would make very simple observations that we all know, like um, people, women especially, are hypercritical of images of themselves.
True.
We all know that. That's pretty much true. So he would make very simple ones like that, and then some of the ones that were more complicated, revealing like, you know, this tendency to blind obedience to malevolent authority, that we would rather just follow an authority figure than stick to our own beliefs and say, no, that's not right. The resistance to authority is very hard, very difficult for us to muster.
It made me think about the Holocaust
Of
slightly
course.
differently. You?
Yeah. Well, he was Jewish and grew up in New York in the 40s, so I'm sure and I know that he was influenced by that, wondering how this could happen, how an entire group culture of people could follow someone so morally bankrupt as Hitler.
Yeah.
But we see that all the time in various degrees. He doesn't have to be Hitler. I mean, there are people out there that are as um, malevolent, but I think even in subtle ways in society all the time we see it. You know, we'd rather just go along and say yes. Sometimes, like in his other experiments, we'll even disregard our own senses that tell us things are one way and see it the way the group does. There's this great experiment with straws and which one's the longest straw. And this whole group of people who are all actors point to, the straw that is not the longest. And when it comes to the guy who's not the actor, he looks confused for a minute and then he points to the straw that is not the longest, even though his own eyes tell him that that one is definitely longer. He doesn't pick it because he believes maybe it's about resisting the group, maybe it's about not believing your own eyes or trusting your own senses. But this is the way that we all get ourselves in a very wrong direction, one that has nothing to do with the reality, just with kind of a snowball effect of bad information, you know.
Have you ever been on jury duty where that happened?
I've never been on jury duty. I've been called but never used.
Oh, you get out of it, you lucky dog.
I'd be interested, yeah.
So, I wanted to know, can you talk about the charity work that you do?
Yeah. Um, where to begin? Um,
Your favorite causes?
yeah, Doctors Without Borders do, certainly have supported them for some time. I also work with this group, Death Penalty Focus, which is an anti-death penalty group, and especially recently with the case of Glossop in Oklahoma, who's going to be executed now. I think it's November 6th. Was due to be executed a couple of days ago, and it was delayed because they didn't have the right drugs to give him, or there was some confusion about it. That happens to be a man that I believe is innocent and is being murdered. He definitely did not personally commit the murder. The man who did that is serving a life sentence. So that man said that he was hired to by this guy, Glossop.